A coalition of community groups in St. Petersburg is pressuring the city to enact rent control measures. Now, the pressure is growing, especially after an apartment expansion gave its tenants legal but short notice to leave. 10 Tampa Bay's Miguel Octavio shares the demands from concerned groups and how the city is responding.
City leaders in St. Pete say affordable housing is a top priority, but some housing advocates say what they're seeing isn't enough.
We're looking for a response from our government.
As rent rises in St. Pete, so do the calls for change.
And these rent increases make a big dent to working people.
Groups including the St. Pete Tenants Union say they can't wait any longer. They're demanding the city declare an emergency on housing and rent control through a referendum.
And these rent increases make a big dent to working people.
But the mayor's office says its hands are tied under state law, and an emergency declaration isn't possible given that affordable housing efforts are available and underway. But concerned groups aren't buying it. They also protested at the Stanton Hotel and Apartments over short notices to tenants, while others like Amber Watson stayed behind. She was too busy packing.
They should have done more. They should have treated us like people instead of just, people in a unit.
We caught up with her on the last day she could stay.
There's nothing else I can do.
She says she got help, but hasn't secured housing yet. She's hoping her story will bring the needed awareness to this growing problem.
That people need to understand how quickly you can go from, like me, middle class, to almost on the street, and really through no fault of my own.
Conversations surrounding affordable housing come at a time when prices are skyrocketing in parts of the country. Data we've reported on shows it costs about $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment in St. Pete.
And when it comes to developments at the Stanton, a spokesperson also argues the building was no longer safe for tenants and financial support was given. Now, the meeting over rent control and emergency housing starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Nearly all concerned citizens voted in favor of it at its October meeting. And we will share an update on the meeting tonight on Nightside.
Now, we know Florida bans rent control, but where do the rest of the states stand in the U.S.? Let's take a deeper dive. Most states have a ban and preempt any kind of rent control like Florida, according to iProperty Management. Oregon is the only state that allows rent control statewide, while California, New York, Maryland, and New Jersey, as well as Maryland, have city and county laws on rent control. Now, St. Paul voters recently approved the first rent control policy in the Midwest, and Minneapolis voters approved a measure that could implement a policy in the future. Minnesota is one of those states that preempt rent control, but the state does allow cities to enact rent control if it's approved during a general election.